back to my channel, The Zipper Fit. It's been a little while actually since I've done a YouTube video, so I've got a couple of things to tell you. But today I thought I would just look at two of my favourite makes probably across the last couple of months. So I'm wearing the Doe Sirocco jumpsuit, which is a knit jumpsuit, which I think is lovely. And I've also made this swimming costume here, which is the Pilatus swimsuit, and that's by Opian. So I'll start with the swimsuit. I actually only made this 2 days ago and I took it to the beach for a little test run yesterday. We were quite lucky in that we had some dry weather. It wasn't warm, but it was dry. So I headed out, we went to our local beach and had a bit of fun down there. So I've not made anything with a technical fabric before. I've always sewn with wovens or with a knit jersey fabric. So this was kind of a first for me, sewing with this kind of fabric. I ordered it from Spoonflower, which is a lovely place for artists and things to upload their designs, and you can have it made into wallpaper, wrapping paper, fabrics. Anyway, I used a Katie Cortman design in two different prints. So as you can see, the one on the bottom is slightly larger than the one on the top. I got the idea from Katie herself, so I've been following her for ages, pretty much well, for as long as I can remember, and she has started selling her own fabric, and so I love her designs. They're happy, they're cheerful. All of them just embody her spirit really, which is this joyful, massive personality. I went for these. Purples and pinks are really my colour. I like to wear them, and I seem to wear them okay, quite well. So the next thing was to find a pattern that I thought would be suitable for the print, and that was probably the hardest part. So I ended up having a look around and went onto the Fold Line website. I'll tag them in below so you can use the same blog that I did if you want to. And they had a list of, I think it was 10 swimsuits that they recommended that were really good, and this was one of them. So this is the Pilatus swimsuit, and the hashtag, if you're on Instagram, is Opian Pilatus. So I had a look at it, and actually there aren't loads out there, but what I did see were sort of 70 or 80 pictures of these swimsuits which just looked fantastic. People had done colour blocking or done the whole swimsuit in one fabric, and it just looked great every time. So I thought this would be perfect, because what I can do is, as you can see here, it's joined at the side just here. So it was perfect really. I could do the bottoms in the bigger print and the top in the smaller print, and as you can see, the back of the swimsuit here has this gap as well. So yeah, I went big and small. It's completely lined. Well, it's not completely lined, that's Porky. Let's just turn her around. She's a bit stiff in her old age. So it's lined, the bodice, so it's the same fabric on the inside. I've had a few questions about that. The pants aren't lined actually, but there is instruction there if you want to line them. This fabric from Spoonflower is heavy. There's no need to line it, I don't think personally. It's absolutely brilliant. It was not an issue to work with at all. I sewed pretty much the whole costume on the overlocker. The only thing that I did on my sewing machine was this top stitching along here and around the legs, there and there. Other than that, including the bow and everything, was all done on the overlocker. I didn't use my machine at all, and God's truth, it took me about 2 to 3 hours to sew it. It is such a basic construction, and as you can see there is a 1 out of 4 on the difficulty scale, which was another thing that kind of reeled me in, because having not sewn a swimsuit before, I did sort of worry about the technicalities in behind it and how difficult it would be. So that was another thing that attracted me to this pattern. And honestly, if you're considering sewing a swimsuit, it really is straightforward. You honestly, you can't really go wrong. Once this section here is done, this here is completely plain sailing. Even putting the elastic into the leg holes, which I thought was going to be horrible, was fine. It was absolutely fine. And then top stitching it on the machine, that was all fine. There were no issues. It handled just beautifully well. So It's got a massive recommendation from me. I absolutely love the style of it. I'll put a couple of pictures up from when I was at the beach yesterday so you can see what it looks like to wear. And also do check the hashtag, because I've seen this costume on all manner of different bodies and it just looks great. I love it. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is my jumpsuit. This was just insane. Okay, you can see I can't stand up because I'll go out of shot, but I'll put a couple photos up. It is so floaty. It's really, really floaty. And I think I probably bit off almost more than I can chew fabric wise with this, because I went to Falmouth in Cornwall and there's a new shop there called Stitches and Cream. I'll link them in below, their website's just gone live. And I fell in love with this fabric when I was there, and I just said to the lady, she's called Jane, who owns it, I said to her at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, that would make the best Deer and Doe Sirocco jumpsuit. And both her and my mum turned and looked at me as if to sort of say, my goodness, you're as mad as a box of frogs. Because obviously the print on the actual roll looked quite loud and proud out there. But I could just visualise it, you know, in my head. I could see it made up, and I love a big print. I love anything that's a bit wild and out there, and so for me it was just a perfect fabric choice. What I didn't bank on is that because it is a viscose crepe jersey, it's very fine, and so when I was pleating it and doing the darts, sewing it in general, everything really was just slightly more tricky than it would have been had I have gone for a scuba or even a cotton jersey really. The thing that attracted me to it is it has really good stretch, it's got great recovery. I quite liked the fluidity of the fabric, I quite like that it moves well. So all of those things did attract me to it, but I was just a bit naive when it came to actually sewing with the fabric, thinking about, you know, the challenges that might lie behind the sew. That said, I took my time in Emma's World. Everyone knows that I sew quickly, so in Emma's World I took my time, and I took it easy. So I sewed very slowly. I did lots of test runs with tensions and things like that to figure out how the fabric best handled, because these little pockets here, they have actually got elastic in under here, and then you have to zigzag it down. You won't be able to see that from here, but as I sewed the zigzag down, it looked like a little mini tsunami. It was it was not a good look, so that had to be unpicked. I had to rejiggle on my tensions and, you know, just keep going until eventually I got it right. So that was a little bit tricky, but other than that, the actual pattern, and I think if I was making it in a scuba, which I am doing next, I think it would have been a really, really pleasurable sew, because the pattern itself is basic in construction really. Once you've got these little pleats in, here and here in the front panels, once they're in, and same at the back, honestly, it's quite a straightforward construction, and it's not a difficult sew. It's okay. So I think had I made it in a different fabric, it would have been very much more pleasurable. As it was, I had to have a couple glasses of wine along the way, a few naughty words, choice language along the way, and lots of communication with Jane at Stitches and Cream. We were having a laugh backwards and forwards, because as it was coming together, her daughter was saying to her, you know, I like that, Mum, can you make me one? So she's got to make one now, so I'm looking forward to seeing hers pop up on Instagram at some point in the near future. I don't know if it will or won't. They've sort of started to look at a maxi dress as well, so who knows. If you haven't checked out Stitches and Cream incidentally, like I say, I've linked them below, and they are a small family run shop in Falmouth in Cornwall. Do go and check them out and show them some support and love. You know, the sewing community on Instagram is absolutely incredible, you know, so they're a new business. I think it'd be really kind just to pop along, check out their website or have a look at their page over on Instagram and just give them a little follow, show them some support, because it's very encouraging in those early days, isn't it, when people are following you along and bolstering you. It's really nice. So, and they're lovely. So I'm quite excited that their website's up and running actually. So Falmouth for me is a 2-hour trip from here, but it's a lovely place to visit, so I dare say I'll be going back anyway. So that's it really, that's my little roundup. The other thing that I did do on this pattern, which I haven't mentioned, is I sort of did a bit of a lazy cuff. I don't know if you can see that from there, but I highlighted that on my Instagram page, how I did it. It's in my highlights under the Deer and Doe Sirocco section. But I took a really deep hem. So I took a deep hem like that, and then I folded it back on itself and blind stitched this by hand. So that's how I created my little turn up, which I quite like down there. So that's how I did that. I didn't alter the pattern in any other way. There was some question over whether I was going to shorten it in the crotch, but actually, because you do kind of get this gaping here, but when you stand that does disappear, and to be honest, you kind of need the movement there. The only way in and out of this little beaut is through here, so it has to get over your hips to get it on and off. So there does need to be some fabric here for you to be able to get up comfortably, sit down comfortably, and get the thing on and off. Do you know, I do not know, when I made this, I think I had more questions about how difficult it was to go to the toilet than anything else, than the make, the fabric, anything. Is it easy to go for a wee? I had so many questions about that. Yes, it's quite easy. However, I do recommend you listen, or you don't listen to the guide, but you do take note of that guide. It says find a fabric with 60% stretch, and it says that for a reason. You need it. If you go below that, you are going to struggle to go for a wee. And that's the truth of the matter, I think. So I think there are a couple of scubas out there over on Lubadoo Fabrics, and they've got 50% stretch, and I know a lady that's made it from that, and she says actually that that's okay. So that's one to consider. I'll link them in below as well, so you can go and check their fabrics out. The lady there's called Laurel, and she is lovely. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all you really need to listen to on this one. It does say 60% stretch for very, very good reason. Anyway, that's it from me today. I just thought I would pop on here and tell you about these two makes. I recommend both the patterns. This one comes as a shorty as well. That'd be great for the summer, and it is really super comfortable. So listen to the fabric guide, don't listen to the fabric guide, take note of it, and you'll have a good jumpsuit there, or play suit. This one here, I just think it's a little bit different. I love it, it's a little bit fun, and actually it feels safe when it's on. So 2 recommendations from me, 2 fun sews, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please do so just by clicking on the subscribe button below, and I'll be back soon to tell you all about an event that's coming up called the Pattern Swap. So watch out for that video, that's coming up soon. Take care, bye!